Welcome to day one of my Great Basin Desert Walkabout. I've just been dropped off here in this remote part of the basin, and I don't expect to see another person for the next 5 days. The two biggest challenges I'll face out here are finding water and food. There are no reliable natural sources of drinking water out here, so I'll be depending on what are called wildlife guzzlers. They are small, man-made structures that catch and store rain and snow for use by wildlife primarily, and their locations are not published, so finding them requires a little ingenuity. I hope to add to my meager food rations with some edible plants and possibly some animal protein, but I've never spent any time out here in this specific part of the Great Basin, so I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to find. My main goal for today is to find my first guzzler and hope that it's full of water. According to my sources, it should be in one of those distant juniper draws there on the left. Well, it's 2 hours later. I finally found the guzzler, and even better news, it's full of water. For those of you who have never seen a guzzler, I'll give you a quick tour. First of all, rain or snow falls on the sloped metal roof. The water runs down into the rain gutter, and from there flows down the downspout and into a shaded storage tank down below. Access to the water is through this narrow opening on the downhill side of the tank. I'm guessing this tank holds between maybe 300 and 500 gallons. Alright, so this is the view from my first night's campsite. See, I've got a dandy view of the salt flats. Quite a bit of dead juniper in here for firewood. I've got my camp back here in this little cluster of junipers. Right in there will be camp. And it's in this draw right here where the guzzler is. So I'll be able to get up on the hill up here above it tonight and just watch and see what comes in to drink. Alright, my next task is to get water. And it doesn't look very appetizing. A lot of algae, but I'll just have to go with what I got. So I'm going to use a stick and use my pot and just stick it in there and dip it out. Or maybe I could use a t-shirt tied on the end, stick it in there and then wring it out when I bring it out. But this is what we're going to try. Ugh. Looks bad. Bit of algae, a few flies, but I've certainly seen worse.
So we have a couple more hours before sunset, and I don't want to get the fire started this early. I want to wait till it's a little bit closer to sundown. So I'm going to try out my hammock, make sure it works and doesn't crash down on me, and take a little nap for a while. Yep, it works. There's another hour of daylight, well, another hour before the sun goes down. So I think I'll start the fire now. A little bit of juniper bark. There's not a whole lot of variety out here in terms of edible plants, and those that are here really aren't all that satisfying in terms of calories and flavor. But these two right here, I'm just going to pick a few of these and put them in my stew tonight. This is one called tumble mustard or Jim Hill mustard. I'm just going to take the tips. This one here is called flicksweed or tansy mustard. Again, I'm just going to take the blossom ends with some of the youngest fruits and add those to my stew. So tonight, what I'm doing for dinner, I'm going to make a stew of 2 ounces by weight of a lentil pea soup mix. And to that, I'll add about 1 ounce of jerky, beef jerky. And that's pretty much it in terms of what I brought. To add a little bit of flavor to it, I've got the mustard greens, a little bit of those, and then as I was coming in today, let's see if I can find it, I collected some shad scale. Shad scale is a salt containing plant that adds at least some salt to your dish. Gives a little bit of flavor. If you're a salt addict like I am, I gotta have a little bit of salt. I know some of the other walkabouts I've done, some of the other survival hikes I've done, camps and so forth, the thing that I miss the most has always been salt. So I'm going to try the shad scale and see if that helps satisfy some of my salt cravings. Set this aside, let it boil for about 20, probably 30 minutes. See how she goes. Alright, the soup's been on for about a little over 30 minutes. So let's check it out, see what we got. Well, looks good enough to me. Okay, let's give it a try. Reminds me a little bit of, in fact it reminds me quite a bit of when I was a scoutmaster. We had a tradition where we would cook up, at least on every camp out, at least once we'd cook up what we called scout stew. Scout stew was made of whatever everybody brought that night. The rule was you bring one item, one food item to add to the stew, and there were no rules about what it could be. Every boy would bring something different. We'd throw it all into the stew pot, cook it up, and the only rule was you could not shine a flashlight on it until it was time to eat. And the interesting thing was that they always ate it all up. In fact, wanted seconds and thirds. It always turned out good. So this is a form of, I would say, of scout stew. Just add whatever items you can find and call it good. I've certainly had worse. Not bad at all. I'd say the only off taste to this, I think those mustards add a little bit more bitterness to the stew than I expected. The shad scale, great. The tumble mustard is not near as bitter as the tansy mustard or the flickweed.
Well, it's been an interesting day. I found my guzzler, and it was full of water. I have a comfortable camp. I had a tasty dinner, and both my canteens are full. So now, it's time just to relax, enjoy the beauty of this unique landscape, and the companionship of a warm, friendly campfire. I hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 2 of my walkabout. So long.